Hello, everybody. My name's Robin Harrison, and in this episode of Inside Ice, I'm joined by Margaret, or Mags Dunn, event director of Ice, and we're going to talk about, I suppose, just really what we're doing with this series is we're giving people a bit of an insight into the people behind Ice, but also what's in store for this year. You know, there's obviously a lot out there, but I think it's interesting hearing it from different parts of Clarion. So, Mags, first of all, thank you very much for your time. I imagine it is insanely busy.
Thank you for having me. Yes, you've possibly chosen the busiest week to conduct this this episode,
Excellent.
but so thanks for that. But no, it's all good. Everything is on track and everything is looking really good. But yes, obviously a million different projects happening at the moment just to get those last few things across the line, just to make everything amazing for this year's show.
Fantastic. And I think the best place to start with this going to be your first ICES event director, so it'd be good to kind of get a bit of your background, what's kind of brought you into Clarion and, taking the reins of something like ICE.
Yeah, well, it's a good question. So, I've been in the events business, and the publishing business for many, many years. And previously worked at an events company based in London that did a whole host of different events in lots of different sectors, from sort of packaging, from energy to logistics, all sorts of different industries. Not the gaming or entertainment space, but many different sectors. And to be honest, when I was approached about the opportunity to work for ICE, ICE is very well known in the event space. Everyone knows it's one of the largest events, or B2B events across the world. It's very well recognized, and obviously, everyone talks a lot about the ICE experience and how much fun it is. So it seemed like too good of an opportunity to overlook, to be honest. So yeah, I thought I would give it a try and move into this space. And so far, yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Fantastic. And it's an interesting time to join, isn't it? Because obviously I suppose it's the second year in Barcelona. First edition, I think, by all metrics, went really well, which was obviously, kind of great to see. But then that really, I suppose, kind of puts the pressure on for year two. It's like the difficult second album. Um, so how do you feel about the pressure? Do you feel under pressure to deliver? Because obviously, as you mentioned there, there is this kind of like ice experience, which is its quite a unique thing. And but then having made the move successfully, I suppose there's kind of then you know a desire to kind of emulate that and to keep that growing and to keep it kind of expanding. So I mean, if you so it's like, yeah, are you feeling under pressure because of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, as you say, 2025 edition, the first edition in Barcelona was incredible. There's no doubting that. The NPS score, which it was plus 67, everyone I've spoken to in the last 9 months has said, what a roaring success it was in terms of the international nature of the event and who came and everything about it. So of course there's the pressure there to make this year's show bigger and better. But there would be every year. I mean, ICE is the most influential event in the gaming industry. Everyone really looks forward to that ICE experience. So yes, we do have to go one step further each year and make the event one step better and really listen to our industry, really listen to our visitors and find out what it is they want and deliver that to the show. So in terms of feeling the pressure, I say, we have done the legwork. The team have spent an enormous amount of time in the market over the last few months, finding out what people want and building those relationships, forming partnerships to bring the correct people to the show. So that's paying off. So I wouldn't say we are concerned. We know last year we had about 60,000 people at the show. This year we're expecting 65,000. We are on track already for those numbers. And I think it spurs us on, if anything, to put that additional effort in. So our creative, for example, this year is growing the power of play, and we've put an enormous effort into how the show will look and feel on site. So you'll notice that as you enter the event. But yeah, all sorts of little things that we have done to create the overall ice experience. But I've seen some of the visuals, and actually it looks awesome. So yeah, we are really looking forward to unveiling it in January.
Fantastic. And thinking back to when you joined, you talked about bringing in I suppose, kind of, let's call them like non-endemic technology businesses, and also, um, I think it was using ICE as a kind of platform to kind of shape industry policy, because they're kind of, I suppose, kind of like two of the main drivers of ICE, technology and policy. And I'm really interested to hear more about, how these things are going to kind of like manifest in the 2026 show. Like maybe we start with like technology and kind of, out of industry brands. I mean, like what are we going to see at ICE 2026?
Yeah, so as you've got it spot on, technology and policy are our two key focuses, along with obviously safer gaming as well.
Mhm.
So on the technology side, we have made a start with that. I think a really positive step forward. So we rebranded our show floor content, which was called the Sensor Stage last year, rebranded it to be called the Enterprise
Okay.
Stage, and have really given it a much bigger tech look and feel.
Mhm.
And we're using that stage to host all the key conversations around the future of technology in the gaming space. So, for example, we have our Innovator Challenge in partnership with Microsoft, which will be held on that stage. This is a first for the industry that we've got a brand, at the level of Microsoft working with a gaming event, and really collaboratively as well. So, working
Okay.
in partnership with us. So, we're really excited about that. We've also got some really big names speaking on that stage. So, for example, AWS and Huawei will be giving presentations and also
Okay.
having networking sessions as well afterwards, giving people an opportunity to meet those brands. And then we've also got, so for many years, we've run the pitch contest, which is our startup
Okay.
contest. And this year we have elaborated on that, and we have the Startups Accelerator Program, which is roundtables and workshops that helps. It's run by investors, and it really helps those startups take their concepts through to market launch. So yeah, so loads going on in the technology space, and it won't stop there. It's something that we're going to grow even further as we move into 2027 as well. Cool, and yeah, we've also got some brand new partnerships for this year as well. We've got a really exciting partnership with McLaren.
Oh, wow.
So again, very first for ICE, and we are bringing them onto the show floor. They will have a lifestyle lounge in the spine of the show, and you can visit that lounge and you can check out some of their cars and try out simulators. And a lucky few will be able to do test rides as well. So
Wow.
loads of partnerships like that.
It's quite interesting that because the nature of a show, it feels very much like it's evolving into something much more kind of experiential. I mean, like as someone who's got been working in the events industry for kind of like many years. I mean, like where like what is there? Are there any sectors you feel that do this kind of experiential kind of like aspect of trade shows really well? Because like I think back to my first ICE, and it was in Earl's Court. It was just stands. It's unless you had a stand, you didn't sit down. And now, we're talking about McLaren lounges, all these different kind of elements.
Yeah, so as you say, I mean, it seems insane if you think about it, but we talk a lot about the festivalization of shows. So, it is no longer just a trade show. It's no longer just a 3-day exhibition. It's very much World Gaming Week, which is ICE in partnership with IGB Affiliate. But also throughout that week, there is a whole host of thousands of partner events, of parties and networking events that happen throughout the week. And yeah, as you say, we really do focus on the experience. So again, this year we're working in partnership with Barcelona Beer Festival,
Wow.
and we've got our own ice branded beer, which you'll be able to actually try out in Hall One. So yeah, I mean, I would say an experience is a really big part of the show, definitely. And and you asked us about other events that we attend. So ICE is the third biggest event that's held in the FIRA, so behind Mobile World Congress and ISE. And the team always visit those events and
Mhm.
use them for inspiration. They Mobile World Congress, for example, attracts nearly 100,000 visitors, which is what we aspire to attract within our 5-year plans. So yeah, we go to events like that and we see other things that events are doing really successfully and see how we can incorporate them within ICE as well.
Fantastic. And then just going back to ICE as a platform for policy, I mean, obviously one of the kind of key components of the show is that conference program, which runs throughout the week in a lot of different kind of formats and permutations, and obviously a big part of that is the World Gaming Forum. So I'm keen to get your thoughts on, I suppose, really kind of conferences to date, because I think, the nature of conferences is kind of evolving. So how do you see the ICE conference evolve in a way that kind of allows it to be that platform for policy to be shaped?
Yeah, so I guess one of the things that we're very fortunate at ICE is that we do have our close relationships with all the media events, such as yourselves, and it gives us that real insight into what's happening into the market and help shape our conference content. And I think one of the things we found this year is that people, the content is absolutely critical, but I think what's more important than that is that ability to be in a room with certain people that they're really trying to meet, whether it be high level operators or regulators, be in that high level um, yeah, conference room and have conversations and discussions and actually try and come up with solutions. So in all the research that we've done, the thing that comes up time and time again is this challenge of the illegal market. And, I don't need to tell you this, you're covering it fairly extensively as well. But it's a real a real challenge. And by bringing together, all the regulators and policymakers and, other players in the sector as well, whether it be social media professionals or law enforcement officers, all the people that have an impact on
Mhm.
this challenge, bring them together in a room and try and create a more of an interactive format. So we've
Okay.
got country roundtables, which look specifically at policies in particular countries,
Okay.
and we've got thematic roundtables, which look at particular elements of the illegal market. So yeah, we're really hoping this year, by changing the format slightly, it will help encourage those discussions, and people can actually come away from ICE with potential solutions that they can go away and implement.
Fantastic. And then just keen to take a bit of a step back. So obviously, as you mentioned at the start, you come from working in kind of energy logistics, and this industry can be a bit of a bubble sometimes. So I'm always kind of, I think it's quite interesting to get a fresh perspective on events such as ICE. So obviously knowing about it already, but then kind of coming in, to take charge of it. I mean, like looking back with it, were there any kind of elements of the show that you felt it was kind of missing? Anything that you thought it could do with? It's like when you kind of came in. I mean, like what was like aside from those areas that we've talked about, obviously, non-endemic technology, ICE as a platform for policy development. What other elements, say, do you see? If not, in 2026 and future years being kind of added to the show, where do you think it can be enhanced?
I mean, it's a difficult one, as you say. So much is already going on across World Gaming Week, but I'd say one area that I noticed coming into the show, and as you said, I worked in sort of energy, oil and gas, shipping, logistics. The big focus and priority was all on sustainability and the energy transition and how we're making things more energy efficient. And I would say when I first came into ICE, that it there wasn't as big a focus. And it's completely understandable. I've been to conferences with the ECA this year where they've talked a lot about how it's the entertainment sector that it's so important to have the lights and the sounds, and actually things like if you power down your slot machines, it actually takes a little while for them to boot up again, which can have an impact on business. So it makes it that much harder for sustainability to be the priority. But from speaking to people, it does seem like it is it is an issue that is coming more to the forefront, and there's certainly companies that are exploring it more. So I do expect that is something that will be more prevalent in the years to come, and we're trying to do our bit as well. So again, in the size of ICE, we have over 750 brands exhibiting across the show. The potential for waste is enormous, and we are acutely aware of that. So we are trying to implement a few changes. So we have introduced the Better Stands initiative, for example, which really encourages people to recycle their stands. So all space-only exhibitors will be given either bronze, silver, or gold status, depending on how much of their stand is reusable. And then we will reward the most sustainable stand overall. To give a certificate to the exhibitor who is making the most efforts in all sorts of sustainable practices, including outside of the show as well. So yeah, we are trying. It is a long journey. It is something that's it's not going to be solved overnight. But yeah, I do think it's an important issue for the industry.
Fair enough. And then throughout this process, kind of like leading up to, the culmination of, your first ICE, I mean, like, obviously there's a lot of kind of twists and turns in that process, but I mean, like, what have been the standout moments for you? Like, is there been any moment where you feel there's been like kind of like a particular breakthrough in terms of like the planning and what we're kind of and what you're kind of building?
Well, I mean, it's we work with an enormous team, and it's a very, very passionate team. I think we're very lucky that the people that work on the show and also the corresponding magazines and IGB affiliate as well, they've worked in the industry for many years. Like they're very involved and very passionate about what they do. So we're very fortunate on that side. I would say one of the areas that has been really interesting for me is getting more involved with our focus on safer gaming. So we have the Sustainable Gambling Zone, which we have had at the show for many years, but every year we try and ensure that it's given even more focus and priority. So for this year, we have changed the layout of the zone. We've made it much more open plan so people can easily see the technologies on offer. We've increased the visibility of the zone and actually invested more into the look and feel as well, which you'll notice on site. So things like that. And we try to get closer to the market. So for example, we invited a lived experience professional to actually come to the office earlier in the year and talk about some of his personal experiences of gambling harms, so that the team could understand what it's all about, and how gambling harms can have an impact, and so that we know why it's so important that we are promoting the safer gaming zone, for example. So it's things like that, I think, that really do have an impact.
Fantastic. Then finally, if you can only tell people one reason to come to ICE, what would it be?
um but basically it is that FOMO effect. If you're not at ICE, you are going to miss out. So we've been looking through the numbers in the last few weeks in terms of our last marketing push, and it's some impressive figures. We've got 1 million meetings are going to happen over World Gaming Week. We've got over 25,000 products are going to get launched, and we know there's going to be over 400 regulators in the room in the World Gaming Forum. So they're just a few of the numbers that we've been talking about, but it just shows the sheer size and scale of an event like ICE and World Gaming Week. So, everyone plans their year around ICE. It's where all the important business events happen. So it's just that really key way of kicking off the year. So, you can either go and visit your customers in multiple different places, or you can come to ICE, see the entire global gaming ecosystem all in one place, and then set yourself up for a successful year. So yeah, that's what I'd say. If you're not there, you're definitely going to miss out.
Strong words to end on. Mags, thank you so much, and very
Thanks for
best
having
of
me.
luck with the rest of the planning.
Thank you. See you in January.
See you then.